إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره. نعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد. Greet you all with the greeting of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and the blessing of Almighty Allah be with you all. I'd like to welcome you all for continuation of our series, 40 Hadith for Muslim family, for the Muslim family, by Muhammad S. Adly of Columbia, South Carolina. Today we work in Hadith number 5, page number 11, which is reported by Abu Sa'id radiallahu anhu قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا أنفق المسلم نفقة على أهله وهو يحتسبها كانت له صدقة. متفق عليه. Abu Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him, reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying what the meaning is: when someone spends on his family seeking his reward for it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it counts to him as a sadaqah, charity. Bukhari and Muslim. This hadith, a big part of establishing a Muslim family and united family, because when you have a family, there is needs and wants. There is wife, there is children, there is bills need to be paid, and any dragging feet with finance is going to bring some problem, if it's not main problem, in the family. Your rent, your utility, the clothing, the feeding is a lot. And in Islam, the one who's responsible about this, the head of the house, i.e. the husband. And we understand how a man have to step out of his house every day, early in the morning, doesn't come back again until almost sunset, to be taking care of his house. Usually in Islam, a woman doesn't go outside for making a dollar, because she have more important job and more obligation than bringing the dollar. It's not only a big responsibility, believe it or not, she carrying a serious responsibility could not be done by most, if it's not all, men. Raising children is not an easy job. I know it's not easy job also to be outside struggling, dealing with Muslims or non-Muslims, dealing with your boss and your manager, and try to make halal money and bring about covering the expenses of your house is not a big job. But believe it or not, your wife have something more sensitive and more serious than bringing bread to the house. She is the one who directing the future generation. She's the one who spends the time with them, to comfort them, to give them the proper discipline. Is a lot. Raising children is not a simple job, believe it or not. Therefore, some of the men, they maybe fall short in giving or what they spend on their houses, and sometimes require for them to work more time. Nevertheless, when we look to it with a different view, different eyes, that we can maybe ease our burden. Thank you, Mariam, but thank you. Jazakallah khairan. So, when a person just try to think about that he doing it because Allah, for Allah making him to be responsible about the family, and the necessity of him spending and remembering the reward that he will get, not only because it's obligation, but it's something is pleasing to Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not giving him the reward of being carrying his responsibility, but he giving him the reward of carrying responsibility as a husband and a father, and also a reward as a charity. Because usually when you're fulfilling your obligation, you don't have to have anything else. At least you are free from responsibility. You are free from being punished. But when the intention get involved, when you spending it, you are not spending only because you are a father and a husband, but you are spending because this is something is pleasing to Allah, and that your wife and your children, they have no other means or anyone else to depend on after Allah other than you. So now became the obligation been rewarded, and extra Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it as a reward for you. So al-ihtisab, sharing another attention, why you doing this? This Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you a reward for it. So all fathers and all husbands, they have to understand that this is obligation, the same way that Allah obligated you to make salah. Taking care of your family, especially financially, it is obligation. And when you fulfill it, you are free from this obligation, and you may be even rewarded. A woman is not responsible to pay the rent or to buy the food to the children. If she contributed something, this is nice of her, but she is not obligated. And we have also to be reasonable. It's not because the man is responsible to feed and to protect and shelter the wife and the children, but it's also we have to be reasonable. And this will make me turn my cheek to the other side and talk to my sisters. Let's try to be reasonable. Let's try to be sharing, feeling, and to understand for somebody who have to go every day outside of the house, doesn't matter if it's hot or cold, if it's sunny or raining, he have to go out and he have to listen to his manager and he have to go transportation and all these things. So let's try to be reasonable and not to demand something beyond the ability of the husband or the father. Try to match in with the neighbors or showing off. Not it shouldn't be on the cost of the husband. Let's try to have a simple life, especially if the head of the family is not that fortunate enough, if we can use this term. Also, this to teach us, special husbands, that having the proper intention when we spend. Because what is obligation, if you fulfill it, so you already free from the punishment. But if you do it with intention, seeking reward from Allah, fulfilling your responsibility, making the family comfortable as much as you can, now is not going to be freeing you only from the obligation, it's going to give you a credit and you will get a blessings from Allah for doing your duty that you're supposed to be doing it. And we always have to care about our obligation before try to be nice to other people or showing off for other people. So your family comes first. So try to fulfill the needs to the best of your ability. And also for the wife not to take advantage and to be asking everything, even if it's not necessary, to give him a chance that he can be doing optional charity. Moderation and taking the middle course is always good for everything. In your optional prayer, in giving the sadaqah, spending in your family, like I say, try to be reasonable in everything. ولا تجعل يدك مغلولة إلى عنقك ولا تبسطها كل البسط. Don't make your hands so close to your neck. Don't stretch it all the way. That means don't be a miser and don't be a spendthrift. Take the middle course in everything. Don't sit and all time playing with the kids, but sometimes they need some discipline and education. Don't buying everything they want, excessive and toys, many toys, and every month you understand is throw these toys out and bring the other toys. Let's be reasonable. Take the middle course in everything. With this, inshallah, we'd like to remind that nafaqah and the spending is a means to bring about barakah and the blessings. So in physical way, you see that you're spending the money, but you have also to see with the other eye that Allah is blessing you. Maybe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you healthy because what you're spending. So it's not that everything you want to have to see something physically came in your hand. That Allah is blessing your wife. That she is a good to you. She is not giving you a headache. So count your blessings in different ways. Okay? Don't look to money to be everything. Money is not going to bring about happiness. Sometimes even money is cause for distraction, disturbance, disunity, divorce. She demanding this and you don't want is not necessary, and be fighting over money, and after this we split the family. But always remember Hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he's saying ما من يوم يصبح العباد فيه إلا ملكان ينزلان فيقول أحدهما اللهم أعط منفقا خلفا ويقول الآخر اللهم أعط ممسكا تلفا. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam telling us every day morning comes to you two angels. They come down to the lowest heaven or to the earth, and they will be calling in Allah and saying, "Oh Allah, give more and make replacement to the one who spend in your cause." While the other angel making dua say, "Oh Allah, damage the collection or the saving of this one who with a tight hand." So if you spend, the angel making dua for you that Allah give you more. If you're going to be miser, there is another angel making dua against you that Allah will spoil your property. So we need to spend. We need to be reasonable. We need to give for sabilillah, and we need to start with our own family. And we need to be moderate and reasonable in the way how we spend or give. And the hadith in the collection of Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, Allah Almighty is saying, "O son of Adam, أنفق عليك." Son of Adam, spend, I will spend on you. Give, I will give to you. Let's trust what's in Allah's hand. Let's not be miser, stingy. Let's try to take the middle course. Don't stretch your arm all the way, spending, buying toys and all kind of things unnecessary. And don't also be miser and holding it so tight to you. Women, they love to see new clothes, new jewelry, new telephone. Most of them, they like the showing off. And men, they want, because they sweat for this money, they want to withhold. Let's try to switch seats sometimes. Let's try to be considerate to each other. Let's try to be concerned about the feeling of each other. If you are a husband, try to understand how your wife feel about money. And if you wife, try to remember how hard your husband have to work to make this money. And let's try to understand that both of us here to care for the family and to have them in the best fashion. And best fashion does not mean new clothes, new toys every day or every week. The mannerism, the behavior, the discipline, the unity and the love of one another. Don't let the money to become a cause of dissension and cut the ties and divorce and fighting and all kind of things. Let's try to be reasonable and let's try to wear the shoes of others sometimes. I mean that I say that the wife try to be walking in your husband's shoes sometimes, and also the husband have to walk in her shoes sometimes. Understand about her feeling that people come to visit the house and they see the same couch for the last 5 years. Let's try to be reasonable with one another without causing hardship in each other. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the good of this life and the best of the hereafter, inshallah. With this, I come to conclusion to my segment for this evening. In case anybody have any correction, feel free to type. I will read it and I will announce it and I will give you my opinion about what you mean. If you have a question related to the subject, I don't mind to hear it also. Okay, we thank you for being here. Jazakumullah khair. Looking forward to see you again tomorrow at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time as well as 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك and Allah knows best.